On secondary storage, a file consists a collection of blocks. The operating system or file management system is responsible for allocating blocks to file. This raises two management issues. First, space on secondary storage must be allocated to files. And second, it is necessary to keep track of the space available for all allocations. File allocation. Several issues are involved in file allocations. The three main issues are discussed now. When a new file is created, is the maximum space required for the file allocation at 1. Space is allocated to a file as one or more contiguous unit which we shall refer to as portions. That is, a portion is a contiguous set of allocated blocks. The size of a portion can range from a single block to the entire file. What size of portions should be used for file allocation? So this is the second issue. And the third one is, what sort of data structure or table is used to keep track of the portions assigned to a file. For example, as such a data structure is file allocation table called as FAT, found on DOS and some other operating systems. So the three issues are, the first one is during the file creation how much the maximum space is required, and the second one is size of the portions used for the file allocation, and the third one is what type of the data structure is used. So these are the three major issues. File allocation. There are two types of file allocation methods are used: pre-allocation and dynamic allocations. First, we will see the difference between the pre-allocation and dynamic allocation. In pre-allocation, this policy requires that a maximum size of a file be declared at the time of the file creation request. So, however, for many applications, it is difficult, if not possible, to estimate reliably the maximum potential size of the file. So the users and the application programs would tend to overestimate the size and the maximum sizes allocated. In the case of the dynamic allocation, it allocates space to a file in portions as needed. Variable large contiguous portions and blocks are available. So the variable large contiguous portions, this will provide better performance. The variable size avoids waste and the file allocation tables are small. However, space is hard to reuse. In the case of blocks, it's a small fixed portions provide greater flexibility. They may require large tables or complex structures for their allocation. Contiguity has been abandoned as a primary goal when blocks are allocated as needed. With variable size portions, we need to be concerned with the fragmentation of free space. This issue was faced when we considered the memory partitions. So the following are possible alternative strategies. The three methods are used. The first one is first fit. It chooses the first unused contiguous group of blocks of sufficient size from a free block list. And the second method is best fit. It chooses the smallest unused group that is of sufficient size. And the third one is the nearest fit. It chooses the unused group of sufficient size that is closest to the previous allocation for the file to increase locality. So the three strategies are used for free space fragmentation. Contiguous file allocation. With contiguous allocation, A single contiguous set of blocks is allocated to a file at the time of file creation. So this is shown in the figures. Thus this is a pre-allocation strategy using variable size portions. The file allocation table needs just a single entry for each file showing the starting block and the length of the file. So in this example, 5 files are used which is named as A, B, C, D and E, and its starting blocks are 2, 9, 18, 30 and 26, and it requires the blocks 3, 5, 8, 2 and 3. For example, the file A, its starting block is 2 and it requires 3 more blocks. So it starts from 2 and requires 3 blocks. So 2, 3 and 4. So up to 4, 2 to 4, file A is occupied. Similarly for file E, its starting block is 26 and it requires 3 blocks. The length of the file E is 3. So 26, it starts from 26, 27 and 28. So these 3 blocks are allocated for file E. So this is the structure used for contiguous file allocation. File allocation methods. 3 methods are in common use for file allocation: contiguous file allocation, chain file allocation and indexed file allocation. This slide, it summarizes some of the characteristics of the each and every methods. So here some parameters are considered for the comparisons: the pre-allocation, whether the particular method is the pre-allocated one or not, and it consists the fixed or variable size portions, and what is the size of the portion, and the allocation frequency, time to allocate, and the file allocation table size. So these are the parameters considered for comparison for the 3 methods, that is the contiguous file allocation, chained allocation and indexed file allocation. In case of indexed file allocation, again it is divided into the 2 types, that is the fixed blocks and the variable blocks. So based on these parameters, the 3 methods are compared. Contiguous file allocation presents some problems. External fragmentation will occur, making it difficult to find contiguous blocks of space of sufficient length from time to time. It will be necessary to perform a compaction algorithm to free up additional space on the disk. So in this figure, it shows the contiguous file allocation after applying the compaction algorithm. So also with the pre-allocations, it is necessary to declare the size of the file at the time of creation with the problem of external fragmentation. So here the file A, its start block is 0 and its length is 3. So it will check whether the starting block is free. So it starts from the starting block and occupies the 3 blocks for file A. After that, it requires 5 blocks for file B. So it starts from 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, that is for file B. Similarly for file E, its starting block is 16 and it requires 3 blocks. So 16, 17, 18, these 3 blocks are allocated for file E. So the compaction algorithm, it will avoid the external fragmentation problem in contiguous file allocation. The opposite method from contiguous allocation is the chained allocation. This is the second method. Typically, the allocation is on the individual block basis. Each blocks contains a pointer to the next block in the chain. Again, the file allocation table needs just a single entry for each file showing the starting block and the length of the file. Although pre-allocation is possible, it is more common simply to allocate blocks as needed. The selection of blocks is now a simple way any free block can be added to a chain. There is no external fragmentation in this scheme, and also this type of file organization is best suited to sequential files that are to be processed sequentially. To select an individual blocks of a file, it requires tracing through the chain to the desired block. One consequences of chaining as described by this method is there is no accommodation of the principle of locality. So to overcome the problem of principle of locality, the consolidation technique is implemented in this chained allocation. So in this chained allocation figure, it shows the file allocation table at right side, and for example the file which is named as file B, its start block is 1 and it requires 5 blocks, that is the length is 5. So it can choose any of the free blocks which is available in that file. So the pointer is used, so it points to the block 8. Again the block 8 it points to 3, so the blocks 3 it points to 14, and the block 14 it points to 28. So totally we have 5 blocks because the length of the requested file is 5 blocks. So 1, 8, 3, 14 and 28. Totally the 5 blocks are used. So the problem of this method is the principle of locality. So this can be overcome with the help of the consolidation. So here see this figure, the chained allocation after the consolidation. So the same example is considered here. After the consolidation, the file B, its starting block is 0 and it requires 5 blocks. So the pointer, it points to the contiguous blocks of the disk. So 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Totally we have 5 blocks. So this is done with the help of the consolidation method in chain. Variable large contiguous portions and blocks are available. So the variable large contiguous portions, this will provide better performance. The variable size avoids waste and the file allocation tables are small. However, space is hard to reuse. In the case of blocks, it's a small fixed portions provide greater flexibility. They may require large tables or complex structures for their allocation. Contiguity has been abandoned as a primary goal when blocks are allocated as needed. So in this figure, the file allocation table consists of file B and it requires the index blocks 24. So it consists a separate entry for the file in the file allocation table that points to the blocks. So for the index blocks 24, it consists a separate entry for the number of required blocks. Here the required blocks for the file B is 5. So this 5 entries are separately kept in another table. So this is the example for indexed allocation with block portions. The opposite method from contiguous allocation is the chained allocation. This is the second method. Typically, the allocation is on the individual block basis. Each blocks contains a pointer to the next block in the chain. Again, the file allocation table needs just a single entry for each file showing the starting block and the length of the file. Although pre-allocation is possible, it is more common simply to allocate blocks as needed. The selection of blocks is now a simple way. Any free block can be added to a chain. There is no external fragmentation in this scheme, and also this type of file organization is best suited to sequential files that are to be broken. So in this chained allocation figure, it shows the file allocation table at the right side, and for example, the file which is named as file B, its start block is 1 and it requires 5 blocks, that is the length is 5. So it can choose any of the free blocks which is available in that file. So the pointer is used, so it points to the block 8. Again, the block 8 bit tables. So for that purpose we are using a bit tables. This is a method uses a vector containing 1 bit for each block on the disk. Each entry of a 0, that bit corresponds to a free block, and an entry of 1 that corresponds to a block which is in use. So generally a free block is denoted by a bit 0 and a block which is currently in use is represented by a bit 1. So the advantages of bit table is it works well with any file allocation method and it is as small as possible. Variable large contiguous portions and blocks are available. So the variable large contiguous portions, this will provide better performance. The variable size avoids waste and the file allocation tables are small. However, space is hard to reuse. In the case of blocks, it's a small fixed portions provide greater flexibility. They may require large tables or complex structures for their allocation. Contiguity has been abandoned as a primary goal when blocks are allocated as needed. Of bit table. Chain free portions. The free portions may be chained together by using a pointer and length value in each free portion. It is negligible space overhead because there is no need for a disk allocation table suited to all types of the file allocation methods. So this is the another type that is chain free portions. So in this method the free portions may be chained together by using a pointer, and the disadvantage of this method is it leads to fragmentation. Every time if you allocate a block, you need to read the block first to recover the pointer to the new first free block before writing data to the block. So this is the disadvantage of chain free portion. And indexing, it treats free space as a file and uses an index table as it would for file allocation. For efficiency, the index should be on the basis of variable size portions rather than the blocks, because the blocks are the fixed size portions. This approach provides efficient support for all of the file allocation methods. Then free block list. So each block is assigned a number sequentially. So here the list of the numbers of all free blocks is maintained in a reserved portion of the disk, and depending on the size of the disk, either 24 or 32 bits will be needed to store a single block number. Here the size of the free block list is 24 or 32 times the size of the corresponding bit table, and it must be stored on the disk. And there are two effective techniques for storing a small part of the free block list in main memory. The first one is by using a stack method, and the second one is by using a queue method. In the case of stack, the list can be treated as a push down stack with the first few thousand elements of the stack kept in main memory. In queue structure, the list can be treated as a first in first out, that is FIFO queue, with a few thousand entries from both the head and the tail of the queue in main memory. Volumes, a collection of addressable sectors in secondary memory that an OS or application can use for data storage. This is called volumes. The sectors in a volume need not be consecutive on a physical storage device. They need only appear the way to the OS or applications. A volume may be the result of assembling and merging smaller volumes. So the reliability, this is the last topic of the secondary storage management. So the reliability is explained with the one example. Consider the following scenario. User A requests a file allocation to add to an existing file. The request is granted and the disk and file allocation tables are updated in main memory but not yet on disk. The system crashes and subsequently restarts. User B requests a file allocation and is allocated space on disk that overlaps the last allocation to user A. User A accesses the overlapped portion via a reference that is stored inside A's file. So this is the given scenario. So in this situation, how we can maintain the reliability between the user A and B? So this can be achieved with the help of the solution. To prevent this type of error, the following steps could be performed when file allocation is requested. First, lock the disk allocation table on disk. This prevents another user from causing alterations to the table until this allocation is completed. And second, it searches the disk allocation table for available space. This assumes that a copy of the disk allocation table is always kept in main memory. If it is not kept in main memory, it must first be read in. And third, it allocates space, update the disk allocation table and update the disk. Updating the disk involves writing the disk allocation table back onto the disk. For chain disk allocation, it also involves updating some pointers on disk. Update the file allocation table and update the disk. This is the fourth step. And the fifth one is unlock the disk allocation table. So by locking and searching the disk allocation table for the available space and allocate the space, update the entries and update the file allocation table and disk allocation table and unlock the disk. So these are the steps that can be carried out to avoid the problem. So thus we can maintain the reliability among the users. Thank you.